Nityananda Bhume Gari Jai Sonara Parvata Jana Dulate Lutai Dulate Lutai Dulate Lutai Sonara Parvata Jana Dulate Lutai Hena avatare jai rotina janmila Rochin bali shei papi elo argalo Elo argalo Rochin bali shei papi elo argalo Akrodo paro manandani tanandarai Abhiman chunna nitai nagare verai Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Akrada paro mananda nitananda rai Abhiman sunna nitai nagare verai Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gora Haribol, Haribol, Haribol. Nitai Gora Haribol, Nitai Gora Haribol, Haribol. Raya Nitai Gora Chanda Haribol. Thank you, Broji.
Hare Krishna, Vinayak Prabhu, thank you so much for this wonderful kirtan and this wonderful bhajan. Very, very nice. Krishna must be very happy with you for singing such a wonderful bhajan about Lord Nityananda Mahaprabhu. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindubhyaiva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Sadhu Sangha Sarva Shastra Koi Lavamatra Sadhu Sangha Sarva Siddhi Hoy. Hare Krishna, thank you all the worshipable devotees for joining. Sthir Prabhu, Vipul Prabhu, Puna Mataji, Kant Prabhu, Moto G7, Prabhuji Mataji, Kirti Mataji, Shital Mataji and family. So we will start today's reading of Bhagavad Gita. Thank you for sticking together. Generally, the first session begins with many devotees. Then gradually the number of devotees goes down and down. Those who, to start something is very easy. To stop something is even easier. But to sustain something in life is not easy. Just 1 second here. Okay, so we'll officially kind of start now. So I was mentioning, yes, to sustain something in life is not easy, especially to sustain a spiritual practice, whether it's the chanting of the holy names, whether it's the reading of the Bhagavad Gita, whether there is the the serving the deities or any other aspect of bhakti is not easy to sustain it over and over again. But all of you are very, very sincere souls who are not just joining one time, but continuously making it a part of your life and regular routine to read the scriptures every day and every week in the association of devotees. So this is very, very powerful. So I'm going to share my screen. We can do the Mangalacharan prayers and get started. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Gurave Gaurachandraya, Radhikaya, Tadalaya, Krishnaya, Krishna Bhaktaya, Tad Bhaktaya, Namo Namaha. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishchaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatarini Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Maline Mochanam Pumsam Jalasnana Dine Dine Sakrit Gita Amrita Snanam Samsara Malanashanam. When we take bath from water, with water, our bodily dirt is purified. But when we take bath in the Ganges of the Bhagavad Gita, our internal dirt of lust, anger, greed, envy, pride, illusion, all these anarthas are cleansed. And it's very, very important today, especially because today is the day of Gundicha Mandir Marjan, the day when before the Rath Yatra, the Lord himself showed by his example to cleanse the temple before the arrival of the Lord. Therefore, first verse of Chaitanya Shishtastakam also begins with Cheto Darpana Marjana. And what could be a better way than to come in the association of devotees and to read Bhagavad Gita together in the association of devotees to cleanse our heart from all the samsara mala nashanam, the inside dirt accumulated from the samsara, from this bhavasagar. Everywhere we go, no one reminds about Krishna except for devotees. Out of the 24 hours, we go to office, we go to grocery store, we go to get gas, we go to get so many things. How many people remind us about Krishna? It's only in the assembly of devotees when we meet in some festivals, programs, temple, etc. We get chance to cleanse that. So very, very important today, meditating upon the pastime of Gundicha Mandir Marjan. Let's read the Bhagavad Gita. Before we get started with session number 22 from text number 34 of chapter 4 entitled Transcendental Knowledge, anyone remembers what we discussed in session 21 about the different types of yagyas we studied? Anyone remembers anything? Anything struck you? Anything you remember? Anything you really liked from the last? Let's take one or two reflections before we move on. Anyone wants to say something? It's too hard to remember. Yes, Sudhir, please.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So I remember, like, about the sacrifices, I think you said, to achieve, the purpose of the sacrifice is, to achieve the complete knowledge, and to gain, from material miseries and different mystery behind, the sacrifices. I think you also explained about Karma Kanda and Gnana Kanda. I think that's what I remember.
Thank you. Very nice. We discussed about different sacrifices and what's the outcome or the object of different sacrifices. Very nice. Anyone else? Remember, still text 33 we studied last time.
So, Prabhuji, so through different type of sacrifices, actually, the purpose is that to develop our jnana and material gain to destruction of our sins, and to go back to the Brahmana and spiritual for the spiritual world for the devotees.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Very nice. So we discussed this topic before 6 Brahmans, and then we discussed about the different elements of sacrifice and how these different types of yogis have different types of elements. But what is the main sacrifice actually? In Kali Yoga is Bhakti Yoga, the chanting of the holy name, Yagya Nam Japa Yagyasmi. So with the ladle of the tongue, one chants, puts the transcendental sound vibration in the Havan Kunda of one's ears. And what happens? The phala is transcendental pure love of Krishna is awakened. So, and it can be applied to any aspect. In the Bhagavad Gita, reading of Bhagavad Gita, chanting of the holy names, serving the Vaishnavas, etc. It is applied to every aspect. In the Bhakti Yoga, the main sacrifice is everything. What is the Agni? Everything is for the pleasure of Guru and Krishna. Manasa deho geho jo kichu more arpita tule nanda arpita tava pada nanda kishore. O Krishna, whatever is the stamp I have put on my manas deha geha, my deha, my body, my manas, my mind, my geha, my so-called my home, it's everything for you, my Lord, not for me and my family. It's for you and Vaishnavas and Guru. So this will awaken. What is the phala of this? This will awaken pure love of Godhead. So basically following the Navdha Bhakti, which begins with Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, etc. So we discussed that. So now we will move to chapter number 4, text 34. Very, very important verse, and which tells the qualities of a disciple and how to attain transcendental knowledge. So would someone like to read this verse?
Yes, I can read Prabhuji. Hare Krishna devotees, Honorable Pranam, all goes to Srila Prabhupada. Text 34. Tad vidhi punipatena poriprasnana shevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tato darshina. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized souls can impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth. Back to Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu. This is very, very important verse. It's in the top 10 verses of Bhagavad Gita. Actually, it's in the top 50 also, but very, very important verse that tells the mood of the disciple. How should a disciple approach a guru. Lot of wonderful qualities a disciple should have are shared in this verse. Let's go word by word, and we'll spend a little more time in this verse, and then we'll flow faster. So, pranipata. Pranipat means to approach the spiritual master, and one should inquire, pariprashnena, submissively inquire, and also render service, sevaya. So it means approaching a bona fide spiritual master, not approaching any Tom, Dick, Harry. Submissively, pariprashna, submissively inquire. So we will read this purport since it's such an important purport. So if someone wants to read maybe the first 10 lines or something. Yes, they probably want to read here. It's very important purport.
Sure. Did you ask me, Prabhuji?
Yes, please.
Okay. Hare Krishna devotees, Dandavat Pranam, purport by Srila Prabhupada. Jai. The path of spiritual realization is undoubtedly difficult. The Lord therefore advises us to approach a bona fide spiritual master in the line of disciplic succession from the Lord himself. No one can be a bona fide spiritual master without following the principle of disciplic succession. The Lord is the original spiritual master, and a person in the disciplic succession can convey the message of the Lord as it is to his disciple. No one can be spiritually realized by manufacturing his own process as passion of the foolish pretend. Thank you, Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. The Bhagavatam 6.3.19 says, Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitah. So the point here is basically to approach a bona fide spiritual master. Tad vijnanartham sa guru beva vigachet. One should approach, and one should not approach guru for just, oh, when will I pass in my exam? When I get a promotion in my job? When will I get my visa? When will I get married? When will I have so many material questions people may have. This is not the real. Tad vijnanartham. To inquire for transcendental spiritual knowledge, one should approach guru. So very, very important. And such a spiritual master should be accepted in full surrender. And one should serve the spiritual master like a menial servant without false prestige. Very important. I repeat, one should serve the spiritual master like a menial servant without false prestige. And satisfaction of the self-realized spiritual master is the secret of advancement. This is a secret. Krishna is telling, Prabhupada is telling. Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasado. If Guru is pleased, then Krishna is pleased. Yasya aprasadat. If Guru is not pleased, then Krishna will not be pleased. Very, very important. We sing this prayer every day in the Mangalarti, the 8th stanza, Guru Ashtakam. Inquiries and submission constitute the proper combination of spiritual understanding. So, so poetic and so deep also. Proper bona fide inquiry. Inquiry should not be challenging. Hey, do you know this? Hey, do you know that? One should submit. Submission means submit. Submit means first Arjuna also submitted. Right? Anyone remembers which verse Arjuna submitted himself before he inquired?
In the second chapter, Prabhuji, I think 46, 47. So.
7th verse, yeah. 7th verse, 2.7.
Arpanyadosha pahata svabhava pritchami tvam dharma samudacheta Treshyanishtitam brohitanme Shishyastaham sadimam tvam prapadmam. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Very nice. So submission before even understanding. So there are a lot of elements, and I'll first, after reading the purport, I'll share more qualities of a disciple. So Prabhupada is writing, unless there is submission and service, inquiries from the learned spiritual master will not be effective. Right? One must be able to pass the test of the spiritual master. And when the spiritual master, he is referring to spiritual master, sees the genuine desire, he automatically blesses the disciple with genuine spiritual understanding. So blessings will naturally outpour. Sometimes we may ask Senior Vaishnava, Prabhu, please bless me, please, which is nice. But what is real blessing? Not just by asking for blessing, right? Just by asking for blessing, one may say, okay, Prabhu, I bless you. But that is not the real blessing. The real blessing is when we serve them. That means when we sincerely follow what they would like us to do, we should ask them, Prabhu, how can I serve you? What you would like me to do, which will please you? If we do things which will please them, naturally blessings will outpour from the heart. Talking about blessings, a story. One time, before the beginning of the war of Mahabharata, the Pandavas and the Kauravas are on the opposite side. So Kauravas have a lot of army, Pandavas have less army, but they have one best thing, that is Sri Krishna. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna Yatra Partha Dhanurdhara, and they have Arjuna and Krishna. So the point is, Yudhishthira Maharaj goes to the other side and takes blessings of his seniors like Kripacharya, Dronacharya, and the great Mahajan Bhishma. So what happens next? And they give the Ashirvad, Vijay Bhava, may you be victorious. And guess one person is not happy. Anyone can guess who is not happy about this whole episode?
Dhritarashtra.
Dhritarashtra was way in Hastinapur, but his child Duryodhana was present. He could see that this is going on, and he said later, hey, you are in my team or his team. You are giving blessings to him, Vijay Bhava. You have to give blessings to me, right? I should be victorious. And then Bhishma said a very nice thing. Oh, proud Duryodhana, if you would have bowed down to your elder brother Yudhishthira, guess what blessings you would have got? You would have also got the same blessings. May you be victorious, Vijay Bhava. But because of your pride, because of your too much being puffed up, you don't want to take a menial position. You don't want to submit. Therefore, time is just waiting for destruction. The point here is submission. Disciple means to live under discipline. Shishyasteham shadiman. Shishya means then the one who allows to live under the shasan of the Guru, Sadhu, and Vaishnavas and Shastras. In the other day, we were talking about from the Bhagavatam also. Amrish Maharaj, in the story we were reading, it is very, very clear. A devotee does things which are sanctioned by the Supreme Lord. Right? So, all the scriptures lead us to one conclusion, that what are these qualities? Often we should focus on these devotional qualities. So now someone may ask, well, that means we should not ask any questions to the Guru. That means we should not even inquire and just follow blindly. No, that's not the meaning. Prabhupada is clarifying here. So can someone read here? Mataji, you want to read? Rashmi Mataji?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, yes. Dandavat Pranam, everyone. In this verse, both blind following and observed inquiries are condemned. Not only should one hear submissively from the spiritual master, but one must also get a clear understanding from him in submission and service and inquiries. A bona fide spiritual master by nature, very kind toward the disciple. Therefore, when the student is submissive and is always ready to render service, the reciprocation of knowledge and inquiries becomes perfect. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Looks like all of you are doing the Mandir Marjan. So your videos are off maybe. If you're not doing Mandir Marjan, then you can turn your videos on. It would be very helpful. So thank you, Mataji, for this reading. So again and again, Prabhupada is not saying we should blindly follow, right? Blind following is not encouraged. We should ask genuine questions. It's like when you go to buy gold, we just don't go to any shop who may be selling cheap plastic covered with some polish as goal, we will ask questions. So we should surrender to the right bona fide spiritual master and ask the right questions and know what is meant to be a bona fide spiritual master. It's not that someone can do some magic and produce some ashes with the hat. That's not Guru. It's not someone is very, very famous. Actually, yesterday only I was talking to a senior Vaishnava, and he was mentioning that how Prabhupada, no, I forgot the name of this person, who is very, very famous. At that time, he was very, very famous. Even until like 10 years back, he was very, very famous. And Prabhupada told him that you are doing so-called yogi, so-called this, so-called Baba, Guru, etc. So many gurus may be famous, so many thousands, millions of followers on Facebook, YouTube, whatnot. But Prabhupada said to him, I'm telling you, if you don't get involved in bhakti yoga, it's just a matter of time, you will fall down. Prabhupada told him 40 years back. And guess what? This person fell down. It's just a matter of time. He had an extra affair and all that, got entrapped of opposite sex and just fell down, whatever he was doing. And Prabhupada had forecasted that if you do not get, So I was talking to Zoti, and the Zoti was mentioning that applies for pretty much anyone. Anyone who is not practicing the path of bhakti, they may be very famous, they may talk very generic things, so many Baba, I don't want to name in this day and age, especially so many media and YouTube and Facebook, very, very famous, thousands, millions of people may follow them, watch their videos, but if they're not sincerely following the path of bhakti, bhakti means the path of Krishna consciousness, not the Mayavad path, not the impersonalist. It's just a matter of time. It will lead to fall down. So we learned about the different qualities of a disciple that will help us to attain transcendental knowledge. Pranipata, humble surrender to the Guru. Pariprashnena, ask submissive inquiry. About the long term, Arjuna didn't ask about prayers. Give me promotion, give me this. He asked, Yad Shreyas. We should ask about real thing. How can I get out from the cycle of birth and death? How can I develop love for God? Who is God? Is it God? What happens after death? So many people are dying. What will happen? We all plan after our, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 20 years from now. We all do some kind of planning. So we should do the real planning. And then open-minded. One time, a professor from ITBHU, the Banaras Hindu University at that time, came to Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur in a very, very challenging way. So one should not ask questions in a challenging way. One should not ask questions to test the knowledge of the Guru. Oh, let me see if this person can tell me this verse. Or one should not ask questions to prove I am better, because the Guru does not want to have such argument. Or we see that in the story of Shri Rupa and Sanatan Goswami. A person was coming with a Digvijay Patra, sign this and prove that, I'm the best, you accept defeat. They just signed. Okay, you are better than us. They signed it. But then later Jiva Goswami could not tolerate the insult of the Guru, because he was boasting, see, I have defeated Rupa and Sanatan Goswami. Then Jiva Goswami kind of defeated him. Not to prove he's better, but to protect the honor of the Guru. So multiple pastimes are there. Open-mindedness and service attitude. So I'll share a story about service attitude. Ramanujacharya, the great Acharya from Sri Sampradaya, had a nephew. Had a nephew named Dashrathi. And Dashrathi was very good in learning, but quite proud also. Sometimes learning may give us pride. I know a lot of verses. I can give a class. I speak better than him. Vidya dadati vinayam. Vidya should give vinaya. Therefore, we should always render humble service, which will keep us on the ground and not lead to pride. And be very, very careful of this false ego, or I'm better than others. So Dashrathi wanted to know the meaning of the verse Sarva Dharman Parityaja. He wanted to ask his guru, Ramacharya, and his uncle. Ramanacharya said that, well, you are my nephew, and why don't you go to Goshtipurna? He's a great acharya. He will help you. So then he went to Goshtipurna. All the way, Dashrathi traveled to where? Goshtipurna, in his town. So Dashrathi was very, very famous, and then Goshtipurna said that he engaged him in service. So he served. Dashrathi went to Tirukoshtiyor, that's the town. He went means walked, not take out his car or took a flight to Tirukoshtiyor. He walked all the way and served there for 6 months. But the Acharya, Goshtipurna, did not explain him the meaning of this verse. And after 6 months, he said, but gave him the principles. Oh, my dear Dashrathi, you are certainly a most brilliant scholar. There is no doubt in that. And I know that well. However, you must understand that education, wealth, high birth, aristocracy, family can cause pride in the heart of a devotee as well. And of a small-minded person. Kunti Maharani also says, Janmeshwarya Shruta Shribhi. Learning, high birth, wealth, beauty, aristocracy may lead to pride. And these are obstacles. Janmat Ashwarya Shruta Shribhi Edamana Madhapuma Neva Avaharti Avidhatum by Twam Akinchana Gocharam. You can be easily obtained by one who thinks Akinchana. Akinchana means nothing. I have no one else to go, Krishna. Where will I go? You are my only master. Twam Akinchana Gochara. So he explained this philosophy to him, that you approach Ramanacharya. He will explain to you. After serving 6 months, keep that in mind. So he went back, understanding these instructions. He came all the way from Tirukoshtiyor, and he narrated what had happened between Dashrathi and who will tell?
Goshtipurna.
Yes, Goshtipurna, who was one of the gurus of Ramanacharya. So he came to Sri Rangam and met who? Ramanacharya. So Ramanacharya's sister, or the daughter of his another guru named Mahapurna, Atulai, was coming. So Atulai came at that scene and said, dear brother, I am in great suffering. So, because she's the daughter of his guru, Mahapurna. A lot of names. Mahapurna, one of the gurus of Ramanacharya. His daughter, Atulai. Atulai came to Ramanacharya. I need help. My in-laws are giving me so much work. I have to fetch water, go 2 miles and do this, do that. I have no domestic help. And then I'm really kind of, dying basically. I have to go 2 miles to get water, and the road is very difficult, lonely, difficult to traverse. I've become overwhelmed with fear and exhaustion, and I need some help. And Ramanacharya said, oh, you need help? Here is a great servant, pointing to Dashrathi. He knows cooking. He knows how to fetch water. He knows everything. He'll help you in cooking. He'll help you in cleaning. He'll help you in everything. So Ramanujacharya sent Dashrathi with Atulai, saying that this is a great servant. Dashrathi did not object. He did not say, hey Baba, I am the great Dashrathi who give thousands of classes and thousands of people, sing my glories. He accepted. And he didn't say, I'm not a maid servant. He just, Tadvidi Pranipata Pariprashrina Sevaya, menial service rendered. And then again, without saying anything to anyone, Dashrathi, as a servant in the home of Atulai and his in-laws and family, just did whatever was told. Cooking, cleaning, etc. 6 months again passed away. Can we imagine? 6 months he already served in Goshtipurna's home, and 6 months now he has served in Atulai's home. One day, a so-called Vaishnava came to the town of Atulai and was giving big classes. Oh, Krishna, God, this, that, but lot of hodgepodge philosophy, and had And he could sense, Dashrathi could sense that the innocent people cannot sometimes understand the difference between the hodgepodge philosophy. They may think, oh, he is also talking about Krishna. Oh, he is also talking about Krishna. But they may not be able to sense the difference. Therefore, it is very, very important and told to all of the devotees in ISKCON. We are not that Paramhamsa like Dashrathi who can sense the difference. And therefore, we should be very selective in our hearing, and we should hear from Prabhupada and his genuine followers, the genuine which the GBC recommends us to do. Therefore, we should be very selective in our hearing. It's not that we hear anyone and everyone, although they may be in right standing also sometimes, like Sri Sampradaya, other Sampradayas. We are not saying they are bad. We are not judging them. But we have limited time. We have limited, and to avoid our getting distracted and deviated, it's better. We can't hear 24 hours a day. We have limited time. Whatever we do, we're hearing 30 minutes a day, an hour a day, whatever we should hear, whom it is recommended by Guru Sadhu Shastra in our ISKCON family. Very, very careful. So this Vaishnava was speaking. Some tinge of Mayavad was there. He was mixing philosophies and not giving the pure devotion. And Dashrathi could not, a devotee cannot tolerate this. Dashrathi said, and that you are speaking about impersonalist we're talking about bhakti with impersonalist misconceptions. And then this person shouted, hey, you are a Shudra, you are a fool, you will teach me philosophy. And then, without showing a least sign of annoyance, these harsh words, Dashrathi calmly went on with his explanation and then gave him multiple verses from Bhagavatam and other Siddhantas and Sutras, and one after the other. And then everyone realized that he is none other than the great Dashrathi, who knows all the scriptures, and everyone kind of washed his feet and accepted him as the great Guru. And then he was brought back to Ramanujacharya, and then he was told the meaning of Sarvdharman Parityajya, right? So it's not that bhakti is cheap. So sincerely rendering service to the Guru, all the purports will be revealed. Divya Gyan Hriday Prakashito. When one serves the Guru, there are so many other stories also. Shall I tell more stories? One time, there was one, in the Guru's ashram, there was one very, very foolish disciple. Everyone called him very, very foolish because he did not know even to read and hear properly. He could not even write properly. And the other people would make fun. Look at this this person. Look at this person. He can't even read. He can't even hear. And every others were getting puffed up. When we give off, they could not see that he is sincerely rendering service to the Guru and Krishna. The Guru wanted to teach them a lesson, that they were making offenses, right? So the test was given, and then the Guru kind of covered his toe, the feet toe, and he said a big ulcer has happened, a big kind of boil has happened, and then he called a so-called Vaidya also, and the Vaidya came in to diagnose this boil and ulcer. He said it's a very deadly ulcer, and there is only one solution to this. If any of the disciples will drink and will risk their lives for this, they may live, they may not live after drinking this. Then you will be saved, the disciple may or may not live. And then all the disciples who were very proud of their learning, oh, I can quote a lot of scriptures, oh, I am the best, oh, the Guru is. And the Guru asked, my dear disciples, would any one of or the Vaidya asked them, will any one of you agree to take this, to drink this? You may not live after that. And guess no one said, no, sorry, Guru, you are anyways old, but we are young. We will carry your legacy. But we don't want to give up our lives for you because we are very attached to our lives. Anyways, and this foolish disciple was the Guru asked him, well, will you do that? He said, Gurudev, I am anyways a fool. I don't know to read and write. I don't know. I can't give any big classes, anything. I don't understand anything. What will I do? My life is just waste anyways. If it can give you even 1 minute of extra life, how many lavamatra sadhu sangha sarva siddhi hoy. So many people will get in contact with you and their life will be purified. What's the use of me living anyways if you are not there? So yes, I will certainly drink, or do whatever you ask me to do. So he drank that. He drank that. And then everyone was there, like he was watching, because he could live or he could not live. He could die. And then he asked, they asked, how is it tasting? And he said, it's tasting like mango nectar, amras. It's tasting like mango juice. And actually, it was mango juice. This whole thing, this whole plot was arranged to tell, to humble. There are so many other stories. I can go on and on about the Guru Seva. Bhaktisiddhanta Saroj Thakur was serving his Guru. Narottam Das Thakur was cleaning the stool of their Guru. So many other stories are like this. Mahat Sevaya Dwaram Ahur Vimukte Tamo Dwaram Yoshita Sangi Sangam. Srimad Bhagavatam. Let's read this verse. Mahat Sevaya Dwaram Ahur Vimuktes Tamo Dwaram Yoshita Sangi Sangam. Mahantaste Samachitta Prashanta Vimanyavaha Suhrida Sadhavo Ye. Who wants to read the translation? Anyone?
Can you read, Prabhuji? Hare Krishna, everyone. One can attain the path of liberation from material bondage only by rendering service to highly advanced spiritual personalities. These personalities are impersonalists and devotees. Whether one wants to merge into Lord's existence or wants to associate with the personality of Godhead, one should render service to Mahatmas. Continue. Okay. For those who are not interested in such activities, who associate with people fond of women and sex, the path to hell is wide open. The Mahatmas are well equipoised. They do not see any difference between one living entity and another. They are very peaceful and are fully engaged in devotion service. They are devoid of anger and they work for the benefit of everyone. They do not behave in any abominable way. Such people are known as Mahatmas.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. So basically, those who render service to the Mahatmas, the doors to Vaikuntha open. Those who do not do so, Tamo Dwaram, right? Those who are serving their wicked mind and senses, the bad association, eating, just breaking the regulative principles, the doors to hell. Trividham narakasya dvam dwaram nashnam atmana kama krodhas tatha mohats tatha tasmadetam tasmadecham trayam tajet. One should give up the bad service to the bad masters, right? Lust, anger, greed. Rather, one should serve the Mahat. Again, Sushrushaddanasya Vasudeva Katharuchi Syan Mahat Sevaya Vipra Punya Tirthani Sevanat. Oh, twice bronze sages, by serving those devotees who are completely free from all the vices, great service is done. By such service, one gains affinity for hearing the messages of Vasudeva. So by service, naturally, Divya Gyan Hriday Prakashito. Dhruv Maharaj did not go to any college. When he served Narad Muni, when he followed his instructions, Krishna himself touched the Panchajanya. There was a story about the bull. The bull was speaking shloka because the bull was humbly serving his guru. The story of the guru and disciple I just shared. Later, this disciple became one of the most learned, and he was the one who continued the legacy of his spiritual master. Why? Because he had served his spiritual master. He was ready to do anything for the guru. There's so many such pastimes are there, so many such stories. These are not just fictional stuff. This is real stuff. Those who sincerely serve Prabhupada, those who, the point is to please the Guru. And now the question may come, how do we please Prabhupada? How do we get his blessings? By sincerely serving, by following his instructions, right? It is not just like, pressing the feet of the Guru. That's maybe possible for very few, may not be possible for most. But by following the instructions is possible for everyone, those who sincerely would like to do. That means chanting the holy name sincerely, serving the Vaishnavas, reading the holy scripture like Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, etc. Cultivating the genuine mood of humility, tolerance, not criticizing Vaishnavas, always being eager to serve, distribute the holy name, distribute the books, distribute Krishna Prasad in whatever way, form, capacity, whatever has been given to us, use it as a serving to Krishna, as an offering to Vaishnavas. So this will naturally please Prabhupada and those who are dear to Prabhupada. That means all his disciples and grand disciples, etc. So this is certainly going to please. Prabhupada was very, very pleased with all these services. Krishna himself is pleased. Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita so many times. We were reading chapter 12 the other day, that those who are devotees of the Lord are very, very dear to him. Chapter 12, there are multiple verses which talk about this point. Yo me bhakta cha me priya, very, very dear. So text 34 is most important, very, very important, chapter 4. So we spent a little more time. So now, in the 64 items of Srila Rupa Goswami in the Nectar of Devotion, Ado Guru Pad Ashraya, approaching the spiritual master is the first and the foremost important. Until Arjuna did not approach Krishna as a guru, nothing. Bhagavad Gita practically didn't start. It was just like setting the scene. This is happening, this is happening. Arjuna was speaking multiple reasons. Krishna was just, okay, that's fine. Yeah, what? Keep going. And what was the outcome? Tension, tears, confusion, doubts, right? Gandiva trembling, hands shaking. But after that, after taking shelter of Guru, Nashta Moha Smritir Labdha, clarity, equipoised, focus, determination, Krishna consciousness. So this is the power of Guru. So this is the way to attain transcendental knowledge, not blind following, but not absurd inquiries. Absurd inquiries, absurd inquiry. Anyone like give example of absurd inquiries? Like, hey, why do we put Tilak this way? Why can you see Krishna, Prabhupada? Sometimes why do you put like absurd inquiry, not having any context to bhakti? That have you seen this, or when will I get promotion? Material mundane inquiries. When will I get a suitable wife? When will my boss stop harassing me? These are not the real questions to Guru. So let's continue so we can complete this chapter in the next some time. So we'll go a little fast here. We have covered pretty much the essence. So let's see what happens. Yajñatvana punarmoham evam yasyasi pandava yena bhutani sheshani dakshasi atmani atho mai. Mataji, you want to read the translation? Anyone wants to read translation, please?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Having obtained real knowledge from a self-realized soul, you will never fall again into such illusion. For by this knowledge, you will see that all living beings are but part of the Supreme, or in other words, that they are mine. Back to you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. So transcendental knowledge. One will not fall down, no bewilderment, in pure vision. right? One will be free from illusion. Illusion means to see things in an incorrect perspective. I'm the body, I'm the enjoyer, kartahamiti manyate. Everyone is God, I am God, you are God, we all are God. This is all illusion. But by having transcendental knowledge from a bona fide spiritual master, one will understand one's true self and one's relationship with Krishna. Who is God? Who am I? What's my relationship? What's the sadhana bhakti process? What's the sambandha? What's the abhide? And what is the goal or prayojan? So this is very, very important. That they are part of the Supreme. All living beings are part of Supreme. It does not mean everything is one. But this is clarifying that. So you can read this purport in your spare time. But we have touched the basic, the impersonalist conception is rejected here. Api chedasi papebhya sarvebhya papakrita tamaha sarvam gyani plave naiva vrijim santarishyasi. Someone wants to read this one? Anyone would like to read? Translation?
I can read. Even if you are considered to be the most sinful of all sinners, when you are situated in the boat of transcendental knowledge, you will be able to cross over the ocean of miseries. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. There's a one more very, very similar verse in Bhagavad Gita, 9.30. Api cheta suduracharo bhajate mamananya bhaksadhu reva samantavya samyak vyavastito isa. Even if one is, sinful, every saint had a past. Every sinner has a future. Does not matter. And we see that when Prabhupada came, their lives, his audience were not very saintly people, right? So his audience was not very saintly people. They had all sorts of bad habits, but they took this boat of transcendental knowledge. And who drives the boat? The captain, Guru Karnadhara, the captain, the spiritual master. They took the shelter of a bona fide spiritual master and took shelter of the transcendental knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and all the sins were gone. The great sage Valmiki was a Daku Ratnakar before, is a dacoit, right? The Vaishya who was trying to allure Haridas Thakur had a very bad character before. Does not matter, the past does not matter. What one is doing in the present, in which direction is one progressing, that is more important. And one will be able to cross over the ocean of miseries, the oceans of nescience. So, by the power of Guru, by the power of Krishna consciousness, by the power of Bhakti, one will destroy all sins. So, let's see the next verse. Yathadhidhamsi samidhog agne bhasma sat kurute arjuna yanina sarva karmani bhasma shat kurute tatha. Anyone wants to read this translation? Yes, please unmute and speak up. Yes, Manjulali, please.
Hare Krishna. As the blazing fire turns firewood to ashes, O Arjuna, so does the fire of knowledge burn to ashes all reactions to material activities.
Hare Krishna, thank you. Thank you so much. So now in this verse, we are reading that the fire of transcendental knowledge will burn all the reactions. And Prabhupada is clarifying in the purport what does all mean. All the reactions, like, we all use Amazon. There could be some things which we may, plan to buy, right? We haven't bought it, but we plan to buy, okay, I'll buy it tomorrow, right? So that's incoming. Some things we could have ordered, but they haven't shipped yet, right? That's a different stage. Some things it is ordered and shipped, right? It's in transit. And some things could be, it's on the door, and some we could already receive. So therefore, there are like different types of reactions also. Reactions in making, reactions fructifying, reactions already achieved. All sorts of reactions will be destroyed by the power of bhakti. And there are so many other examples also, so many stories in this regard, that that the reactions of past misdeeds do not act. We say in the Tulsi Pranam mantra also, we say, Ani kani cha papani brahmatyadikani cha tani tani pranashyanti pradakshina pade pade. Yani kani cha papani. Any kinds of sins. Well, what about Brahmahatya? Brahmahatya adikani cha. Even up to the sins of Brahmahatya, killing a Brahmana, can be just by doing the act of devotion of circumambulation of Tulasi. But to speak of someone who's regularly doing it, all the different limbs of bhakti. So basically both the pious and the impious. Because we don't want to keep stock of pious reactions, right? Sometimes, because pious reaction stock would be, it'll take us to the upper planets. So we want to, we want to just have the stock of akarma, transcendental reactions. Okay. 38. Nahi jnanena sadrisham pavitram iha vidyate tat swayam yoga samsiddha kalen atmani vindati. Okay, anyone?
Renuka would like to read.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Translation: In this world, there is nothing too sublime and pure as transcendental knowledge. Such knowledge is the mature fruit of all mysticism, and one who has become accomplished in the practice of devotional service enjoys this knowledge within himself in due course of time. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. So the glories of transcendental knowledge is explained, and let's read this section, which is very, very potent. So yes, Renuka Mataji, you want to read this section as well?
Yes, Prabhu. Ignorance is the cause of our bondage, and knowledge is the cause of our liberation. This knowledge is the mature fruit of devotional service. And when one is situated in transcendental knowledge, he need not search for peace elsewhere, for he enjoys peace within himself. In other words, this knowledge and peace culminate in Krishna consciousness. That is the last word in the Bhagavad Gita. Thank you, Prabhu.
Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. So Gyan and Vairagya, the two sons of bhakti, will naturally come if someone starts the process of bhakti, that is, chanting the holy names, sadhu sangha, eating Krishna prasadam, etc. Then naturally Gyan and Vairagya will come, the transcendental knowledge will come. And what is the root cause of bondage? Ignorance. Ignorance is bliss for fools, right? There are two kind of people who are in pure bliss. One is in so-called pure bliss and one is in real pure bliss. One is the Paramahamsas and the others are fool. Like a drunkard may be lying in a gutter and think, oh, I'm in heaven, I'm enjoying, but a person in knowledge will see like a pig. So ignorance is not bliss actually. Ignorance of law is not bliss. If we break the law, right, then we will suffer because of it. So the first step is to develop the transcendental knowledge and to develop Krishna consciousness, and the Gyan and Vairagya will naturally culminate, and that will lead to peace and happiness. So let's see if someone does not do so. Yes, Manjulali, you want to read this verse?
Hare Krishna. Book 39. Shraddhava labhate jnanam tatpara samyitendriya jnanam labdva param shantim achirena adhigacchati. Thank you.
A faithful man who is dedicated to transcendental knowledge and who subdues his senses is eligible to achieve such knowledge. And having achieved it, he quickly attains the supreme spiritual peace. So here faith is also mentioned. Faithful. So one should have faith in Krishna consciousness. One should have Shraddha. Shraddhaval is the key word here. Labati. Because Adho Shraddha, that's the first limb of bhakti. We have discussed this, the first stage of bhakti. Shraddha is required. But when we are not saying don't ask questions, so questions are also encouraged. Genuine questions. What is Bhagavad Gita? Question and answer. What is Bhagavatam? Question and answer. So many devotees, Parikshit Maharaj, Shukdev Goswami, what is going on? Question and answer. So a person who is faithful to Krishna, who controls the senses, can easily attain perfection in knowledge of Krishna consciousness. So two other qualities of a good student, a good disciple. We learned some in text 34. Here also are mentioned faith in Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, and sense control. Without that, we cannot attain transcendental knowledge. Sama Indriyaha, Indriyope Sanyam. That means control. One whose senses are uncontrolled cannot get transcendental knowledge. So there's a verse, nice verse in Shvetashvara Upanishad, text 638, I will read. Yasya deve parabhakter yatha deve tatha guru tasyaite kathita hyartha prakashante mahatmanaha. Only those great souls who have implicit faith in both the Lord and the spiritual master are all the imports to the Vedic knowledge are automatically revealed. Very important verse. This is quoted by Prabhupada multiple times. His Grace Visheshika Prabhu really quotes this verse a lot, and I really like that verse as well. So I will share this beautiful story of Krishna and the faith he had in his Guru. And this is mentioned in the Bhagavatam also. So Guru Sandipani Muni asked Krishna and his friends to collect some firewood for his Guru. Right? You have heard this story, but we'll repeat for our purification. And then there was a rainstorm, and whole night they were wandering about. And in the morning, when the Guru and the other disciples finally were found Krishna, the Guru was very pleased and he blessed Krishna. So I'll read this. It is very wonderful that you have suffered so much trouble for me. Everyone likes to take care of, so Guru is saying this, Sandeep Nimoni is saying this. Everyone likes to take care of his body as a first consideration, right? Raise your hand if you, we all do that, right? And there's I'll tell a nice story for those who may not agree. Everyone likes to take care of the body as a first consideration, but you are so good and faithful to your Guru that without caring for your bodily comforts, you have taken so much trouble for the satisfaction of the spiritual master. It is the duty of the disciple to dedicate the life for the service of the spiritual master. My dear, best of the twice born, I am greatly pleased with your action. And I bless you. See, blessings will naturally outpour when we please them or do what they ask us to do. May all your desires and ambitions be fulfilled. May the understanding of the Vedas, which you have learned from me, always continue to remain in your memory, and so that every moment you can remember the teachings of the Vedas and quote their instruction without difficulty. Thus, you will never be disappointed in this life or in the next. Hare Krishna. So, the Guru gave blessings. Krishna is showing by his example how we should also be very eager to please Guru, to get their blessings. Not just by saying, please bless me, please bless. That's fine. But real blessings, how it will come? By rendering, by dedicating one's life to the service of Guru. And that doesn't mean that we have to move into Guru's ashram. That's not the meaning. One can serve the Guru from one's home itself by sincerely following instructions. Sincerely following the instructions. So Krishna also did that. And one time, okay, maybe at the end, if time permits, I'll remind me that everyone is very attached to their body. I'll tell a story if time permits. But the point here is faith and sense control. Let's see what happens to those who don't do so. Anyone wants to read this one? Text 40.
I can read, Prabhuji. Text 40. Agnashcha श्रद्धा dhanasya tamsatma vinasyati nayam lokasti na paro na shukham samsatmanaha. Translation. But ignorant and faithless persons, no doubt, who doubt the revealed scriptures, do not attain God consciousness, they fall down. For the doubting soul, there is happiness neither in this world nor in the next. Back to you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. So for those who don't have faith, the demons of doubt will trouble them. For a doubting soul, they will not be happy in this world, nor in the next. So blind faith is not encouraged. Absurd inquiries are not encouraged. Doubting the pure Guru is not encouraged. So we have to have a nice balance. First, understand the right Guru. Take shelter of that bona fide spiritual master. And then dedicate one's life to serve the spiritual master. Doubting the scriptures. There are three words used here. Agyanas, right? A fool with no knowledge. So they don't have knowledge, they don't have faith. Both are missing. Okay. Then that word is used ashraddadanas. So they have little knowledge, right? There are a lot of people in the world who may have some knowledge of Bhagavad Gita from somewhere, right? But they don't have faith. Prabhupada is quoting, without faith. And then Sanshayatma. Sanshay ke atma hai. They are doubt personified. So that means they are very doubting. Well, they have little faith, they have little knowledge also, but they are doubting. Oh, well, this it says, but did it really happen? Well, they're talking about holy name, does this and that, the real thing. Will it really do? Doubting soul will not get happiness in this world. No. So one should not doubt. Doubts are like demons. Krishna says, Arjuna says, Madhusudana. Oh Krishna, oh Madhusudana, you are the killer of Madhu. Who was trying to steal the knowledge. And you came as Hayagriva to kill that demon, the horse, to protect the Vedas. So you also protect my bhakti, and don't let the demons like Madhusudana, the demons of bad association, the demons of anarthas carry or arise doubts in my mind towards Guru Sadhu Shastra, towards the scriptures, towards the Guru. Therefore, we have to have good association. There are a lot of bad association. If we take bad association, then doubts will come. Then one may leave the path of bhakti. Why? Because of bad association. Why do people leave the path of bhakti? Because of bad association, because of Vaishnava Prad. That means we should be very, very careful and not let. And then slowly the doubts will come. Slowly the material side will grow. Spiritual side will go less. Material doubts will keep creeping in. And then one will be lost. Na sukham sanchayatmana. One will not be happy. So we have to pay extra attention and not let these demons come in. We have to constantly keep fighting. Faith is there in every aspect of life. Some people say, well, why to put faith? So, well, I made a separate kind of video, which I'll share after this. We can talk about the blind faith versus reasonable faith. They're putting faith in everything. You go to an amusement park, aren't you putting faith? You go to a hotel, restaurant, aren't you putting faith? We sit in the flight, aren't you putting faith? We drive on the road, aren't you putting faith? We go to a doctor, aren't you putting faith? You go to, a barber, the blade is very close. One bad, touch and, or you can slice off the neck, right? Do we check the ingredients, what they're putting in the restaurant? Do we check the pilot in the flight is bona fide? Does he really know how to fly? How many of you go and ask and talk to him or check his degree? You go to a doctor, you don't ask for degree. You just, someone told you he's a good doctor and just go there, right? Or you read Google reviews or something. So we are putting faith in everything in life. So when it comes to scriptures, let's not be unreasonably doubtful. All the other things we are putting faith in are purushaya. They have been man-made. Restaurants, vaccines, and restaurants, flights, and everything. There are accidents there, right? Right? Have anyone heard of a flight crashes? They happen. Yes, it happens. Have anyone heard of doctor doing a bad surgery? Yes, it happens. Have anyone heard of a restaurant? People getting food poisoning? Yes, it happens. Has anyone heard of people dying in an amusement park, like flipping off a what do you call it, down a roller coaster? Yes, it happens. Do accidents happen on the road? Yes, they happen. Still, people continue those activities. But for the one who has sincerely taken shelter of Guru Sadhu Shastra, scriptures don't cheat. There are no accidents because they are apurusha. If sincerely one follows Bhagavad Gita, the words of bona fide Guru, there is no doubt of any accident. So we put faith in every aspect of material life. When it comes to scriptures, let's not be unreasonably doubtful. We should ask genuine questions to Guru Sadhu Shastra, but let's not have unreasonable doubt, because doubts will kill our seed of bhakti. Yoga sanshayatma karmanam jnana sanchinna samshayam atmavantam na karmani nibadhanti dhananjaya. Anyone who's feeling left out, has not yet read? Okay. You gone through?
I can read, Prabhuji.
Sure.
One who acts in devotional service, renouncing the fruits of his actions, and whose doubts have been destroyed by transcendental knowledge, is situated factually in the self. Thus, he is not bound by the reactions of work, O conqueror of riches. Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. So, final conclusion, the last two verses. So, renouncing the fruits of one's action. That means doing akarma, destroying the doubts with transcendental knowledge. We also discussed that in this whole chapter multiple times. Situated in oneself, that means Krishna consciousness. Who am I? What is my relationship? Is not bound to the reactions, right? That person is acting akarma. Oh, Dhananjaya. Arjuna is addressed as Dhananjaya because he is the conqueror of riches. Dhan means wealth or riches. And then there's a story that how he brought Dhana for the Rajasuya Yagya for Yudhishthira Maharaj. So basically, the demons of doubt can be destroyed by the sword of transcendental knowledge or devotional service. So last verse of this chapter. Manjula, you want to read? Sudev Prabhu, Mataji, want to read?
Sure, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna devotees, Dandapranam, Prabhuji. Tasmad ajnana sambhutam hritam gnaninas tana mana chitvanim samsayam yogam adisto tistha bharata. Translation is given Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Therefore, the doubts which have arisen in your heart out of ignorance should be slashed by the weapon of knowledge. Armed with yoga, O Bharata, stand and fight. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. This is the last verse, text 42 of chapter 4. As we discuss, slash the doubts with the knowledge of bhakti, the transcendental knowledge. And then uttishta. Uttishta. Don't be lazy. Don't talk about going to forest. Don't talk about karma sannyasa. Don't talk about giving up action. Rather, transcendentalize that action. Don't talk about vairagya from actions, which vairagya, the spirit of vairagya has to develop in the action, not the renunciation offward, rather renunciation inward, not action in inaction, rather do inaction in action. That means you fight, but if you fight in the Nishkama Karma Yoga spirit, therefore these following chapters 3, 4, 5, they all talk about Karma Yoga. Even if one has the transcendental knowledge, one has the pure bhakti, that one should still act. Why? For setting the right example. So they talk about Karma Yoga, but in the spirit of Nishkam Karma Yoga, which eventually is Bhakti Yoga, it leads to. So even if one is a Karma Khandi, and we discuss different types of yogas as well. So ultimately, oh Arjuna, don't talk about giving up this battle. Rather, you fight for me. You fight for because this is the right thing, and this will lead to kill your doubts with the transcendental knowledge. So this is the last last verse. And Prabhupada is mentioning here that one who does not understand these instructions is basically of Gita is faithless, is to be considered as misusing the fragmental independence. In spite of such instruction, one who does not follow or understand the real truth of Lord as eternal, blissful, all-knowing personality of God, it is fool number one. Ignorance can be removed by gradual acceptance of Krishna consciousness. It's in the purport, very, very nice. So, one is therefore advised to study Bhagavad Gita or any other scriptures under bona fide spiritual master like Mahabharata, Bhagavatam, etc. Amritam, Ramayana, Mahabharata also. Bona fide spiritual master. And then one's doubts, one's anarthas will be gone. So this is pretty much the chapter 4 here. I'll take maybe 2-3 minutes. We have some time. We'll take 2-3 minutes to do a quick summary using the acronym EARS. If you remember, chapter 4 is entitled Transcendental Knowledge, Jnana Yoga, and the acronym is EARS. EARS. First E stands for eternal education, right? This knowledge is not coming just printed, as Bhagavad Gita was not printed yesterday, it was given yesterday. It is eternal education, Nitya. It was given to Sun God, Vivaswan, and then his son. Like that, the parampara has continued. It was given 5,000 years back to Arjuna. So it is a Purushaya. There is no, like Bhagavad Gita, oh, sorry, I forgot to mention this verse. Oh, I forgot to this verse, I really didn't want to mention it, this is not correct. There's nothing like that. The shlokas are all same. In the material science, it keeps changing, right? One researcher, other researcher comes, munne matir bhinne. Every researcher has a different perspective, right? And we see that when they say, oh, this vaccine is fine. Oh, no, don't take that one. No, this has some issues. No, they take this one. Right? This keeps changing. Same with science, same with gadgets, same with this. Oh, this is very good. Oh, no, later, no, this caused problems somewhere. Don't do that. Do this. And after 10 years, something else will come up. Eternal education takes 1 to 10. Then accurate understanding about God, about religion, about demigods takes number 11 to 15. A is for accurate understanding and understanding akarma. Then R is for removing the reactions. How can we remove the reactions? By acting in the spirit of action in inaction. That means all the karmic balance will be cleared when one performs akarma, not sakarma, not vikarma. Then the S is for different types of sacrifices, karma yoga, karma kanda, grihastas, vanaprasthas, brahmacharis, dravya yoga, ashtanga yoga. We discussed all, and we also mentioned the 6 elements of Brahman, and then finally different sacrifices. The goal is what? to attain transcendental knowledge, to attain Krishna consciousness or bhakti yoga. And then finally today we talk about the qualities of a disciple, qualities to attain transcendental knowledge. Tadvidi pranipatina prashnena sevaya ubdekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattva darshinaha. That means one should humbly approach a bona fide spiritual master and sincerely serves, asks submissive questions in the spirit of seva, no absurd inquiries, no challenging questions. And we discuss multiple stories of Ramanujacharya and different gurus and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and so many, Narottam Das Thakur. They all showed by their example. So one who does that will be free from the cycle of birth and death, will destroy all types of reaction. One who does not do so, one who is ajnana, no faith, no, always doubting, for a doubting soul, happiness neither in this world nor in the next. So therefore, O Arjuna, get up. It's not time to sleep. It's time to get up and fight with the spirit of Nishkam Karma Yoga or Bhakti Yoga. That's a quick summary. If anyone has any comments, additions, reflections, you can certainly have some time. So feel free to share your thoughts, reflections, please.
So, Prabhuji, what is the meaning of word mysticism?
Mysticism, I think Durvasa Muni's case we are reading, Prabhupada mentioned he was a mystic yogi. So he was meditating on the impersonal Brahman, we read that. And they may have certain siddhis also, like Anuma, Mahima, Laghima, etc., Prapti. So this is often linked with mysticism. Prabhupada mentioned he was a mystic yogi.
So, Prabhuji, in text 38, in the translation, such knowledge is the mature fruit of all mysticism. So, mystic yogis ultimately gain this knowledge by mysticism. Second line, such knowledge is the mature fruit of all mysticism.
They may gain, eventually they may gain. That's what we discuss, all the different yogas. What is the process? What is a real thing to get transcendental knowledge? So they may be able to get that, and they may get certain siddhis, etc. also. So, but in bhakti, it's kind of a residual effect. We don't do bhakti to get, to prove some knowledge. Like the guru example I was sharing, disciple was serving because this is the real act. But as a residual effect, the guru is pleased and gave him transcendental knowledge. The real transcendental knowledge. Now, transcendental knowledge may sometimes be linked to siddhis also. But the real transcendental knowledge is pure knowledge of unalloyed Krishna consciousness. So, for the other processes, they may eventually come to this conclusion. But in bhakti, we begin with that, right? So therefore, it is called a descending process. Other processes are called ascending process. They may gradually, may or may not, right? But in bhakti, we begin with that understanding. In the first few days in ISKCON, one gets to know Krishna, the Bhagavan Swayam. We talk about his six opulence. We talk about how the Supreme Lord. In other processes, it may take them lifetimes, decades, years to get to that understanding. Yes, Manjula, you want to add to that? You mentioned the siddhis now, the Ashtasiddhis are referred to mystics. Yes.
Yeah, mystic yogis, they actually look for powers. So that is what siddhis are called, mysticism or mystic powers. Like, they can run very fast, they can go to other planets, they can become smaller than the smallest, taller than the tallest. Like all those kind of activities are actually referred to as mysticism. So a lot of people, the jnanis or the yogis, try to cultivate knowledge. Of course, knowledge is needed, but eventually they want to get some powers or something which is subordinate to devotional service. But in devotional service, we understand it's that Krishna is the supreme and we are just servants. Devotees also have power, but they do not show their mystic powers. Pure devotees can also do great things, but they don't show because they leave it for Krishna to display all these things. So that love for Krishna is there in devotional service, but in other processes, they try to pose themselves as, superior.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji and Prabhuji.
Any other comments, any additions anyone has before we wind up?
Just one more thing, like years of 1 to 10 is for the eternal education, 11 to 15 accurate information, and removing of reaction from which verses to
16 to 24. And then the last 25 to 42 are talk about sacrifice, the different kinds of yagyas, and what is the ultimate sacrifices
Thank
to
you.
serve Guru and Krishna. God gave us mouths that close and ears that don't. That must tell us something. God gave us mouth. The author is unknown for this quote. God gave us mouth that closes, right? Except for mine, which always keeps open. Ears, which don't close, right? You should contemplate. Even, do you know that even while sleeping, the ears don't close? The mouth is shut, the eyes are shut, right? But the ears are open. That's why we're here, able to hear the alarm. Right? Some devotees may hear, some lecture or some kirtan throughout the night. It's a good practice if you can manage that without getting disturbed. But the ears are, the sound vibration is going in. So we should take advantage. In the Bhagavatam, there is a verse, those who have ears but don't let the Krishna Katha go in, they are like the holes for the snakes. They only hear material vibrations. So one should use one's ears, Shruti, to attain transcendental knowledge. Anyone else? Any last closing comments? Okay, so we will pause here so I can close my mouth and open my ears and to hear more and then speak. But I'm very grateful that all of you are regularly joining. So this sums up chapter 4. Next week we will study chapter 5. So for those who are following along, I really encourage that you read the book along. This will really help to strengthen our understanding, and what could be better thing than reading Bhagavad Gita. So please try to follow along or read in advance. Both are great if you read after the class or before the class, but try to read along. It will really help. So we will pause here. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shri Gundicha Mandir Marchan Mahotsav ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Samavita Gaura Bhakta ki jai. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.